Coming up on After the Whistle, we take a look back on the 2024 football season in District 6.
Plus, we reveal our season awards for the best team of the year, our top 5 plays, and more.
And a look into Penn State football, wrestling, along with men's and women's basketball. All that and more coming up on After the Whistle. Hello and welcome to the final fall show at After the Whistle. I'm Eric Morris.
And I'm Allie Winskowski. This high school football season has had many memorable moments, and we will award only the best later on in the show.
And I'm Justin Chevalella. We also update you on how Penn State's winter sports are doing and a look at Penn State football.
To start off our final show, I am joined with Cassie Vaselis, who dove into the 1A Champions team. Cassie, what was so special about this Bishop Guilfoyle team?
Yeah, the Marauders, they had a very rewarding season. They got the school's 5th state title, and they also ended undefeated at home. Let's take a look. From dominant wins in the regular season to a state championship win to capitalize, there was a lot to celebrate from Bishop Guilfoyle's 15-1 season.
It was always team first, and throughout the season, you could kind of see that becoming more special and a group that was really, destined to maybe do some great things.
Last season, the team went 6-5 and suffered from a lot of injuries as well as a virus that went through the team. This season provided a new chance to show who they are as a team.
We stepped up and we knew we had to really bring that BG bond and brotherhood back in order to get to the spot we were this year and get that state championship win.
Seniors Hamilton Gates and Chase Kissel are now both all-time leading record holders at BG. Gates is the all-time leading receiver, while Kissel is the all-time leading passer in both yardage and touchdowns in BG history.
To be at the top of our positions and stats, it's pretty cool feeling to be in the conversations with those guys that we looked up to when we were younger.
This was the first big season for 3/4 of the team, along with Coach Wheeler's 5th state title. They hope to continue this momentum going into next season.
We thought our young guys were just exceptional at the end of the year, and hopefully they bring that same attitude in the offseason and follow, what we say is always protect the tradition, but follow the tradition of what the guys in front of them did.
The Marauders have plenty of time to celebrate their season before they have to get back to work for the 2025 season. I'm Cassie Vaselis. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Cassie. After finishing second in the Laurel Highlands Division last season, the Bald Eagle Eagles entered this season with high hopes before falling short of this year's postseason and ending with a 500 record. The Eagles went 5-5 in the regular season, landing them 12th in the Laurel Highlands Division. The drop-off came after losing previous seniors such as Cameron Dubbs and Cahill Burns, who led the team in the run game. Last year, the team managed over 3,700 rushing yards, with this season only reaching a total of 2,384. Despite the rough season, senior Carson Nagel completed 22 passing touchdowns, hitting a 63% completion rate, helping win big games such as a double overtime victory over Greater Johnstown, 32-26. The Eagles will lose Nagel due to graduation in the offseason, but with returning wide receiver Bo Taylor and running back Nick McCulley, the Eagles look to soar to new heights entering next season.
One District 6 team that went undefeated in their regular season and even made a playoff run is the Penn Cambria Panthers. Our Brooke Casey is here to talk about this team. Brooke, how'd they do this year?
The Penn Cambria Panthers had everything going for them this season. They had a community, school spirit, and one player who truly defined their team.
The last time the Penn Cambria Panthers went undefeated was in 1989. Current head coach Nick Felis remembers that season fondly, as his older brother quarterbacked the school to victory. Now, 35 years later, Penn Cambria looked to do the same.
Our kids just kept battling. They're resilient, they're tough, they're gritty, and we call it the mountain mentality. It's something that we believe in. It's something that they really took to heart, especially tonight.
The mountain mentality is a mantra that powered the Panthers throughout the 2024 season. Coming out the gate strong with the stellar win against Phillipsburg Osceola, the victories just never seemed to stop.
The impressive performances from junior quarterback Brady Jones and senior captains Mason Mento and Derek Height helped the Panthers keep momentum alive, but one player truly defined Penn Cambria's season. Senior wide receiver Gavin Harold paved the way right out the gate, never losing focus, while also leading his team in receiving yards, points, and touchdowns. Harold would end the season with 1,908 total yards and over 230 points scored.
Player like Gav are your best players because they're your hardest workers right now, and he's done an outstanding job. He's so versatile on both sides of the ball. We can put him in so many different places on offense. You've seen that.
For Harold, however, he says this season was never about personal stats. His focus has always been on supporting his team.
Amazing. It's always great winning a big game, and couldn't have done it without my brothers.
The Panthers truly showed everyone just what mountain mentality was when they defeated the #1 seeded Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders in a show-stopping 27-28 finish.
To be able to do stuff that they were able to do is awesome, but we talked about the qualities that team had, the grittiness, the toughness, the determination. This group's the same way.
While the Panthers' season would come to a close after a nail-biting loss to Avonworth in the state semifinals, this historic run is one for school record books.
So guys, Penn Cambria would end their season 14-1, but they are not stopping at all. They are still preparing, especially next season, to bring the school its first ever state championship win.
Yeah, thanks, Brooke. What an impressive season for them this season.
Yeah, you got to know, like, those guys, a lot of them grew up together, so this is a really special thing for them. This is something we'll be talking about probably for the rest of their lives.
And they really were a good team this year. One team that has improved and even made a small playoff run was Tyrone. The Tyrone Golden Eagles came into the 2024 season looking to build upon last year's 6-5 record and make a playoff run this fall. Tyrone would see a little improvement this season, with the Eagles ending up 7-4 in the regular season, making the postseason, but then falling in the first round to Penn Cambria. Senior wide receiver Trent Adams had himself a year with 14 touchdowns alongside Seth Hoover, who had 13. Hoover averaged just under 100 yards per game. The biggest bright spot for the team was senior quarterback Ashton Walk, who threw for over 3,000 yards, good for 4th overall in the state. Tyrone looks to rebuild and develop young players next year after losing a lot of seniors this offseason.
The Altoona Mountain Lions look to improve on their 5-7 campaign in 2023 and get to over 500 for the first time since the shortened COVID season in 2020. Unfortunately for the Mountain Lions, this season would not end up the way they wanted to. The Mountain Lions finished 1-9 and last in the Mid-Penn Commonwealth Conference with a 1-8 divisional record. Altoona's lone win came on October 11th when they defeated the Chambersburg Trojans 21-14. This would be their highest scoring mark of the entire season. A player who stood out this season was Logan Wukovic. The junior linebacker tallied triple-digit tackles, with 109. He also had 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and an interception. The Mountain Lions lose 10 seniors but bring back a majority of their roster as they look to bounce back next year. And well, speaking of Lions, the Little Lions had an 11-2 season, and our Andrew Deal is here to tell you more.
Thanks, Justin. State College relied on a heavy dose of seniors on offense to lead them to a PIAA playoff appearance. Let's take a look. State College relied on senior production on offense to lead the team to a 9-1 record in the regular season. The offense was led by the connection between Eddie Corkery and Ty Salazar. Corkery threw for over 3,000 yards, while Salazar had 1,597 yards receiving, which was first in Pennsylvania.
He's phenomenal, but even before I talk about him as a football player, he's a tremendous young man, a 2-year captain for us, 4.56 GPA on a 4.0 scale. This is a young man that really is getting it done in all aspects of his life. He's a great lacrosse player. He's our point guard for the basketball team. So he's just really taking care of business in all aspects. And obviously he did it out here tonight on the football field.
Michael Gall, Cooper Brushwood, and Lamar Wilson were all seniors that made immense impact on the offense. Brushwood and Gall combined for just over 1,000 yards receiving, while Wilson added 15 rushing touchdowns to lead the team. The senior production led State College to a quarterfinal appearance in the PIAA state playoffs before losing to Pittsburgh Central Catholic. The Little Lions will have to reload after losing every starting skill position player. Demir Code and Rowan Walker can be instant impact players as State High looks to return to the PIAA playoffs. I'm Andrew Deal. Now back to you, Allie.
Thanks, Andrew. After winning the 5A District 6 championship last year, the Hollidaysburg Golden Tigers came into the season looking to repeat. After a 5-6 season last year, the Golden Tigers were able to keep an undefeated 13-0 alive through the quarterfinals of the state playoffs. The seniors are what made this Hollidaysburg team great. Wide receivers Brady Steiner and Gavin Bell both averaged over 50 receiving yards per game. On the ground, Mitchell Baroner averaged 74 yards per game and scored a total of 13 touchdowns, which led the team. Quarterback Maddox Bainey threw for almost 2,500 yards. Bainey also threw for 28 touchdowns on the year. They were our up-and-coming team of the year last year, and they showed us why this year.
Penn State's regular season is over, but the playoffs are just beginning. Our reporter Annika Wagner is in the studio and has more on the Nittany Lions' stellar year and a look to their upcoming playoff matchup. Annika?
Thanks, Eric. Despite some bumps in the road, it has been a great season for the Nittany Lions, and it's not over yet. Let's take a look at Penn State's playoff-worthy season.
457 points scored, 11 wins, 4 second-half comeback wins, 1 Big Ten championship appearance. It was a season for the history books for Penn State this year. The Nittany Lions started the season strong, opening the floodgates in West Virginia. The offense thrived under first-year offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki, with almost 6,000 yards of total offense.
Touchdown!
Fifth-year senior Tyler Warren had a standout year, ending with him winning the John Mackey Award, making him the best tight end in college football, the first Penn Stater to win the award. Warren holds Penn State tight end season records with 67 receptions and over 1,000 receiving yards.
So having players like this that could do a lot of different things, and he's one of your best players and one of the best players in college football, it helps.
Penn State's only regular season loss came to Ohio State early in November. Penn State then sailed into the Big Ten championship after Ohio State lost to Michigan. The Nittany Lions lost to number 1 ranked Oregon 45-37, but hopes are still high for the future.
Do I think our resume matches up with anybody in the country? Yeah, I think it does. Again, we lost by 1 possession to the number 1 team in the country. And I think earlier in the season, we lost to the number 3 team in the country at the time.
The highs well outweigh the lows this season for the Nittany Lions, as Penn State is now set to host Southern Methodist University in the inaugural 12-team college football playoffs.
Penn State finished the year ranked 5th in the AP polls and 6th seed in the college football playoff bracket. SMU will travel to meet the Nittany Lions for the first home playoff game ever in Beaver Stadium.
And wherever the game is, we're going to need our fans. And if it's a home game, which would be phenomenal, we're going to need that place rocking like it's never rocked before.
Franklin and his team understand the job's not done and the title is still up for grabs.
Stay positive, stay up, because we still got a lot to play for. Still something big in front of us, and this is just another piece of adversity that we needed and that we'll learn from.
The story is far from over for this season for Penn State as they make their push for the college football national championship title, starting with their battle versus SMU Saturday the 21st at noon, where James Franklin and the football team are calling for whiteout conditions. Reporting in the studio, I'm Annika Wagner. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Annika. I'm really excited for some playoff football heading our way. But that's the first part of our show. So Eric, what is coming up?
Well, Allie, we still have to get to all of our awards. It's a pretty big part of tonight. Justin, what else do we have going on?
Well, we also have Penn State wrestling and men's and women's basketball. A lot of Penn State sports going on at the moment. And we still have some high school sports to highlight as well. We'll see all of that when we come back. Welcome back. Let's waste no time and get right into some Penn State sports. After Penn State men's basketball defeated number 8 Purdue at home last week, they traveled to Piscataway, New Jersey to face Rutgers. They lost 80-76, and their record after the game would fall to 8-2. They'll face Penn State at the Bryce Jordan Center tomorrow at 12:30. Going over to women's basketball, the Lady Lions are 9-2 this season after a win on the road against Providence most recently. Prior to that, their last home game was against Indiana. That resulted in a 75-60 loss. They'll stay on the road to face Kansas this Sunday.
The District 6 basketball season continues to heat up as the Penns Valley Rams took on the Huntington Bearcats yesterday. Shortly after the tip, Caleb Rudder will get the block, and Ty Boyer is going to go coast to coast for the Bearcats, lays it in with a nice left-handed finish. Later on in the game, Fletcher Ironside, he'll grab a board, and he hits the Euro step all the way down the floor and gets a reverse layup for Penns Valley. The action would continue as Spencer Althouse sends a no-look pass to Austin Federoff, who lays it in for two more. Now more Rams offense as Ironside gets the basket and the foul as he continues to pour it on for Penns Valley. Now Penns Valley will continue to cook with an elite pass leading to even more points for those Rams. The Rams continue to dominate as Carson Webster would take it away with the steal, and he hits Althouse all the way across the court on a pass. He would finish that, and Penns Valley would finish off the Bearcats. They went on to win this one 71-59. The Rams move to 2-4 and return home to face Bishop Guilfoyle on Monday, and the Bearcats fall to 2-2 and hit the road on Monday to face Bald Eagle.
Penn State Wrestling returns from on the road to action back here in Happy Valley. The Nittany Lions are coming off of a resounding 36-3 win over number 14 Lehigh this past Sunday, which kept them number 1 in the country. Penn State now welcomes Wyoming Cowboys this upcoming weekend, but due to scheduling conflicts with the NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament, the duel has been moved to the BJC, but maintains the original start time of 1 p.m. The duel between the Nittany Lions and the Cowboys is the first ever in the history of the school programs.
Let's move from college wrestling back to high school wrestling. The Penns Valley Rams played host to the Penn Cambria Panthers in an action-packed duel on Thursday night. Penns Valley would dive right into this match, starting with exhibitions where Caden Simcoe pins Colin Gashi in under 10 seconds for Penns Valley. Then in the 189 weight class, a Penns Valley pin by Shane Rimmy against Jesse Horning would give Penns Valley the early 6-0 advantage. Moving to 285 weight class, Penn Cambria would get their only pin of the night as Dane Somerville took down Ty Steger in under 40 seconds to get another couple points on the board. Now heading to the 139 weight class, Penns Valley Zachary Rummel dominates Ben Shoemaker, winning by tech fall. An injury in the 145 weight class between Isaac Felak and Joel Conklin would halt this duel. When action resumed, Penns Valley would sweep Penn Cambria 65-12. Well, I mean, there's been plenty of games this first semester of After the Whistle this year. What was your favorite game that you guys went to?
Well, Justin, I ended up down at Memorial Field when Bishop McDevitt was in town. It was a shootout and a thriller. We'll talk about it in just a little bit, but that's got to be my favorite one of the season.
For me, it was back in November when Cambria Heights and Richland played number 1 and number 2 seeds, but Cambria Heights was able to take the victory.
I mean, if I can have a say here as well, Tyrone and Bellwood Antis Backyard Brawl lived up to that name this year.
We'll still have more awards, but we'll be right back after this. We want to thank everyone in the community who participated in helping us get little fun ways to welcome you back into our show, from student sections, cheerleaders, and even a referee. You guys are what makes After the Whistle, After the Whistle. So without further ado, let's take a look at our top 3 bumps of the year. We're going to flip on to number 3. We have something Justin could never do.
I broke 5 bones watching that.
You go, girl. On Fridays, we wear pink. Coming in at number 2, we have a very rambunctious cheer team. And last but not least, our top bump.
Well, this season we did have a lot of great bumps. We had some top plays and incredible moments as well. But really what makes those moments incredible, it's got to be the celebrations. How do you think the celebrations shaped up this year?
Oh, I think they were phenomenal. And today we are counting down the top 3 celebrations of the 2024 season. At number 3, we have State High's Ty Salazar flying through the air after a touchdown. Salazar made sure to keep the celebration going from the end zone all the way to the sidelines. Coming in at number 2, we watched Hollidaysburg senior Mitchell Barner go from tumbling into the end zone for a touchdown to being tossed into the air by Wyatt Maines for a truly high-flying celebration.
And we have a tie for number 1 celebration of 2024. Bishop Guilfoyle proved all season that they knew how to celebrate, from Trenton Murphy's close touchdown leading into a full team celebration right on the field. And then we're going to go to midfield where Hamilton Gates and Torrin Consiglio would give a handshake to celebrate a Gates touchdown. Some great celebrations throughout the year. Allie, you know, I do have to know, what would be your go-to touchdown celebration?
You know, I think, Eric, if I was to make it all the way down the field, I would want to crowd surf. Now let's take a look at our top 3 games of the year. At number 3, we have State College at Williamsport in the first round of state playoffs. The Millionaires also almost went bankrupt against the Little Lions as they only managed 14 points, while State College scored 75 to advance in the playoffs. And Eric, great camera work here on this run.
You know, Allie, I am pretty impressed with that shot. I did shoot that punt return. It's one of my finest moments.
Oh, here we go.
At number 2, we do have Bishop McDevitt at State College. This is the game that I said I was at earlier and was my favorite. Eddie Corkery was able to outduel Kentucky commit Stone Saunders in a shootout. The 2 teams combined for 113 points on the night, and State College would come away with the win by just a field goal, 58-55.
And at number 1, we have Bishop Guilfoyle at Penn Cambria. A battle between 2 of the best players we saw on the show this year would not disappoint. Both Hamilton Gates and Gavin Harold had 2 touchdowns. Penn Cambria was able to get the 1 point with 28-27.
We start off our top 5 plays now with an onside recovery for the kicking team. That's Bedford in their Week 13 matchup versus Stetson High Spire. Playing this one back again, you could call it luck or maybe some skill, but this ball somehow finds its way back to the clutches of the Bison, helping contribute to their win over the Steamrollers. Next, we're going to take you back to Week 7 for a monster run from Harrisburg's Messiah Minkins. Altoona's efforts were fruitless in stopping this mini beastquake from the Penn State commit.
Halfway through our top 5 comes a huge Week 8 pick 6 as Bishop Guilfoyle's Jake Kissel answers a long-distance house call, adding to an already impressive season for the Marauders. Jake's clearly been watching some film.
Hand-eye coordination is the story of our next play with a spectacular show of reflexes from Hollidaysburg's Wyatt Frazier and their Week 10 matchup at DuBois, reinforcing why DBs don't play wide receiver. And finally, Week 5 brings us our top play of the year as Tyrone's Dante Novak takes the cake with this absolute moss over the Bellwood Antis defender. Let's take another look at this prayer sent up and immediately answered in disrespectful fashion. Dante may be number 9 on the field, but tonight he's our number 1. Now, mascots are arguably the best part of sports. Here are some of the best ones that we've seen this season on After the Whistle. The first one is the Clearfield Bison. He is having the time of his life dancing with the cheerleaders. Next, we have the Juniata Valley Hornet and the West Branch Pirate. And another duo of mascots, the Bellwood Antis and Tyrone's mascots, taking a stroll around the field. They're putting the track to use. Tyrone's Eagle was one of our favorites this season. We'll get the final say.
The support of students can make a big difference in games. We have seen a lot of student spirit, but there are 2 schools that stand out the most. The first school is Hollidaysburg. They constantly show out, especially dressed in all Hawaiian, and saying we're in Central PA, that would probably be nice right about now. They pack the bleachers every game, constantly showing up with great student section themes like pajama out, repping their holiday spirit. Its competition is none other than Penn Cambria. Look at their glow sticks. Panthers countries continuously showed up and cheered on their team with creative themes like this toga out. Even their students dressed up as Uncle Sam to get the game going and the crowd loud.
And now for our Rising Team of the Year. We head just down the road to take a look at the Bellefonte Red Raiders. Finishing with a record of just 2-9 a year ago, the Raiders would surely have work to do. However, their response would be loud with a much improved record of 7-5 this year and a District 6 championship game appearance. Much of the magic for this team can be attributed to countless dynamic performances from dual-threat senior quarterback Liam Halterman, supported by an unstoppable rushing attack that averaged over 200 yards per game. With the returning O-line and skill players, the only question to be answered this offseason will be that of quarterback, as the Red Raiders look to build upon an already impressive program turnaround.
Now let's go to the best team of 2024, which goes to the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders. The Marauders finished the season as the 1A PIAA state champions after defeating Port Allegheny 41-22. BG was led by star quarterback Chase Kissel, as well as receiver Hamilton Gates and running back Torian Consiglio. The Marauders went 15-1 on the season and won their 5th state title in the last decade.
There were so many great players that we covered this season, but one stood out from the rest. Our After the Whistle District MVP goes to Bishop Guilfoyle wide receiver and state champion Hamilton Gates. Gates had a breakout season, nearly tripling the number of receiving yards he had last year and leading the state in receiving yards with 1,705. The senior averaged 106.6 yards per game and ended the season with 19 receiving touchdowns. The senior was also active in Bishop Guilfoyle's running game, putting up 864 rushing yards and 20 rushing touchdowns. Gates was a dual threat and did great things on both sides of the ball, totaling 7 interceptions on the year. Hamilton Gates ended the season with 252 points, 42 touchdowns, and the school's first state title since 2021. What a season it was for Hamilton Gates and the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders as a whole.
Yeah, no joke, man. Congratulations to Hamilton, BG, and all the teams and players that we covered throughout the season. It was really a lot of fun.
It really was, and congratulations are in order. But that is our final show for this year, and it was a lot of fun.
Even though our show is over until January, we still will post major updates on Twitter, Instagram, and now Facebook at ATWPSU.
Also, follow our TikTok for other content on there as well. But for now, we'll see you next year. We'll see you in January right here on After the Whistle.